constantly inspired by what's around me. I think I've learned to tune into finding a tree or a rock in a middle of a city or on anywhere really. So that's what I see. So I'm a printmaking artist. I use predominantly intaglio, a little bit of relief within my practice. I mainly focus with collagraph printing and etching. So the medium within collagraph is working on a matrix of a high density cardboard, and you build the surface up through sealing it and using a textured medium or a loose carborundum grit, or the other way I treat it just like an etching plate and scratch into it for dry points and a little bit of incised lines. So this is my home studio. It's a new studio. I've recently renovated it from the garage into a print studio, which we've nicknamed or renamed as Finch Press. And we do have a lot of local little grass finches that fly around, so it's very fitting. The space is very probably integral into the part of making my art. I find being separate from the house and away from everybody, I can fully immerse myself into my practice and my thought process and the subconscious thinking that I put into creating my prints without the distraction of family or dogs or other people. Probably the recurring theme within my work is abstraction and aesthetics. So I'm constantly looking at the environment for natural forming compositions or textures, marks, looking at the surface of trees and rocks and what's on there, like lichen, scratches, bit of history, anything that makes up that really unique sort of textured surface. So when I go out to source my inspiration, I'll go walking either up Castle Hill or to a park, and Anderson Park in particular around the corner, and I'll take my phone, my camera that's on the phone, and from there make little probably framed images within that context of the surface of a tree, and I might take 100 or 200 pictures that day, and then when I come back to the studio I'll have a look at the outcome or the images that I've taken, and the process of abstractions and separating from my source material starts at that point. The choice of colour comes into it, and instead of looking at the reference as what it is and being a realist and copying that, it'll be more subtracting the information I want, and then I suppose that's the intuitive nature of abstraction or working, and often it's not a conscious thought of what colour to use, but once I actually put all that reference material away, that's when that process starts, and I allow myself the freedom to try different colours, and they'll feed off each other. It might be within my reference material there might be a green blade of grass sitting in front of a grey rock, and that might be the impetus to a line in a work, and I may choose to use that green, or it might become another colour depending on what's sitting behind it. So yeah, it was through the Cornerstone exhibition, it was a very conscious decision not to use my natural colours and push myself to go out of my comfort zone and try something new. And yeah, every now and then I go back to that, but it's very it's very liberating, I think, to be able to push yourself beyond what you know and try something new, and then you step into that new realm of working. I do use the environment as probably my main basis of research, so the aesthetics, as I talked about, within the environment, natural colours, shapes, compositions, that type of thing. But I also subscribe to a multitude of art journals, and I find it's really important to keep up to speed with what your contemporaries and your peers are doing within the art world, nationally and internationally, whether it's just in printmaking or just across the board. And I feel keeping abreast of what's happening is sort of, I don't know, keeps an edge into your work and might allow you to, like, as I said, I'm not a concept-based artist, but I might read an article on a heavily concept-driven person, and then it might actually they've articulated something that I'm trying to achieve, but I didn't realise that that's what it was. Research can come in many different forms, so from working in a regional art gallery, so seeing new work that's coming in, even though it's not a direct influence or directly informing my work, I am researching. I'm looking at how they've applied their medium to their paper, or how it's been framed, or anything like that. So that's another really important element of travelling, going to galleries, or even in your own local environment. At the moment I'm working on a collaborative piece, which is a wallpaper installation for a forthcoming exhibition. So collaborating with another artist is a process that is really important to stay true to your own practice, as well as be sensitive and aware of your collaborators' practice, and create an artwork that is one artwork but has fundamentally both elements of two artists in there. So to create this work, I had to do quite a little bit of research to find out what the surface of the wall was in the little gallery space. So it's pretty much a 2 by 2, it's a 2 metre square space. So I've got 3 walls, 2 metres high by 2 metres wide to fill. I had to choose a paper that is shiny on one side but would allow a collagraph print to go onto the surface. And I've worked that out, which paper to use, and it's actually printing quite well. And in my design, part of choosing my image, I wanted to, I'm complementing the key feature of the print that will be placed on here by the other artist. Predominantly all my work is looking at the surface of trees or bark. So I've actually have a piece of bark that I've collected, and what I'm looking at on this is there's so many marks on here, I can't translate all of it, but I've chosen to abstract what it is, the information that I'm looking at, and refine the information that's on here into a pattern or a set of mark making that is, for me, aesthetically pleasing, but tells my story about surface. So I've actually incised a collagraph plate, inked that up as you would a normal etching plate, and then I've rolled a relief roll of colour over the top. So there's the 2 different colours there. There's like an off-white, warmy yellow-white, and a sanguine, sort of like a reddy brown. And yeah, I feel that I've actually achieved in one pass through the press a really complex texture that'll sit behind the relief print by my collaborating artist on top, and I feel like I've retained the integrity of my work within this, but been sensitive to her image making. Through the collaboration, again, we are respectful of each other's process, so I'm given a lot of freedom to produce my image, and I suppose there's a lot of trust there that what I choose will be complementing to hers. And then once I've finished, Hannah will look at these and then choose what colour she'll use to put on top. So hers is the key plate, the key image that will tie the whole thing together, and my work is that consistent support material in the background, I suppose. But together they create one final print or one image.